rebuilding. The catastrophic failure, a new start, physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, welcome to episode 7 of the Silverback Blueprint Podcast. There, I got it right this time. It's like the 17th take today. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. Today, I want to talk about one of my favorite subjects because it's one of my most pain in the ass things. And it's called the imposter syndrome. And it's a very real thing. And it's just that crazy thought that it'll jump into our head where no matter what we're doing and how successful we are doing something, this thought will come in our head of, dude, you're fucking full of shit. What are you doing here? You don't know what you're doing. What are you up to and stuff like that? This will never work. And it might come in the form of different thoughts for different people, but there's days where we just feel like we're an imposter, like we're not really being who we think we are, or that comment of who do you think you are and stuff like that will come through for me and stuff. And it's a fucking thing. It's a pain in the ass. You get better at dealing with it over time. But it still is this thing that'll just slip in, and it always slips in at that moment when you really don't need it to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like, it's like that last thing you really need to deal with today, and it ends up just creeping itself in there and stuff. And you know what? It just stops us from doing things. It'll stop us from starting new things. It'll stop us from continuing with new things. It'll stop us from it'll just stop us, right? And you got to shake it off, and you got to figure out your way, so it goes back to that state of mind thing. You got to look back at some of the achievements you've done, or find some positive way to basically convince yourself that you're not full of shit and that you're not an imposter, and you deserve to have the good things in your life that are coming to you, that are happening, because for the most part, we reap what we sow. And, but it's funny. I was talking to somebody else about this, and, in fact, they were saying that the more successful people become, the more often they have to deal with the imposter syndrome, and the more intense it can get sometimes. And I can definitely see it. I'm nowhere near where I want to be as far as success is, for me anyway. There's a lot left to do. There's a lot I want to do. And, because I'm 49 years old, sometimes I have these days where I feel like there's just so much pressure behind me to hurry up, right? That kind of thing. And I have to deal with that. But it usually comes when I'm dealing with that imposter syndrome has crept in and stuff. It creates fear. It creates doubt. And so many times it's unfounded. It's ungrounded. It just comes in. It just shows up. And but it's a real thing, and you got to deal with it. Take this podcast, for example. I'm back doing it, but I originally started this in 2013. And I enjoyed it then, and I really enjoy it now. But there's still days where, there's one episode we just did a little while ago, in my head, I'm like, I fucking sucked, right? Because I just didn't like it. There was some banging going on outside. We weren't sure if we could hear it on here. Maybe you'll hear it. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it was distracting me. It was, Luke could see me looking off to the side there and stuff like that. And it was just bugging me. But again, and then it starts to steamroll. I'm like, oh, fuck, that podcast is going to suck. And this sucks. What am I doing, right? Well, that's that fucking imposter syndrome right there. And it's crazy because I really enjoy podcasting. I really like this format. One of the things I'm doing different, because I've got Luke from Podcast Wagon, and I've known Luke forever and stuff. It's giving me that accountability. It's giving me some structure. It's making it a lot easier for me to come in and do this. Even today, I was having a bit of a rough morning, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to do the podcast this afternoon. And I'm like, well, no, dude, you want to do it. So just shake that shit off and just fucking get through this thing you got to deal with. And you know what it was? It was fucking traffic. I was stuck on some traffic. Our main street in Orleans, St. Joseph Boulevard, right now it looks like fucking war-torn Beirut. What should take 3 minutes takes 20 minutes. And it was just pissing me off. And then in my head, I've got a whole bunch of shit I want to get done. And it just starts to steamroll, right? And it wasn't because I didn't want a podcast. I was in that shitty frame of mind, so I had to change my state, and that's what I did. You know what I did to go change my state? I went and got a haircut. Now, I'm a bald guy, so I still get a haircut, but I got my beard trim. I got this massive beard going on right now. And so I go see these guys, these Lebanese brothers have a cool little barber shop, and they specialize in beards. I pulled right in there. It was right near where the traffic was, caught up. I went in, got a haircut, got my beard trimmed. You know what? I felt like $1 million. I felt like a chick that went and got her hair done. I felt fantastic, right? I'm beautiful. So all of a sudden, I'm in a better mood and I want to get some shit done and stuff like that, right? So that imposter syndrome is going to come at you. And, it could be something dramatic. It could be something so simple that just creeps in there. You're trying to get a workout in. This is new. And all of a sudden something goes wrong at home and you can't come in right away. Or you're getting some shit because, you're going to the gym again, right? And I run into that a lot when people first start training at Hostile, because not only are they changing their schedule and their lifestyle and how they do things, their daily activity, but now it's affecting their spouse, right? So if it's a mom coming in, all of a sudden the dad's going to watch his own kids, right? And that fucking drives me crazy when I hear dad say, "Oh, I can't go. I got to babysit my kids." Dude, they're your fucking kids. You're not babysitting your own kids, right? But it's a stressful thing, right? Because they're not used to having to do it. Maybe twice a week now they got to put the baby down or the young kid down, and they never do it. So they're more inconvenienced. So they'll say shitty things, right? And I get the same thing too. The guys come in, stuff like that. They've had a busy day, but they want to get their workout in. And, sometimes they get grief at home. "Oh, you're going to work out again?" What that really means is there's something else that they wanted to do or didn't get done that they feel is more important, right? But you got to deal with that. And you got to have some of that mental resiliency to say, you know what? It's going to be tough, but we're all going to get used to this. And then that's what it takes, right? A little bit of time in, and everyone gets used to the new standard or gets used to the new routines. And next thing you know, when you're feeling better and you're healthier and your positive mindset's better and you have more energy and that kind of thing, all of a sudden everyone's really appreciating the changes. But to go through those changes, you got to deal with shit, right? And the same thing dealing with the imposter syndrome. You've got to go through it as often as it takes to get to the other side of what you're working on and stuff like that. And that's the other thing. The other reality is that imposter syndrome is not going anywhere. So you better fucking learn to deal with it, learn to recognize it, and just shake that shit out of your head and get going. And the better you do that and the more often you do that, the better you're going to get at it and you're going to get through stuff, right? Anyone can do easy. The tough stuff, the stuff that you have to deal with, and all this little stuff is the tough stuff, right? At the end of the day, I'd much rather get a fucking punch in the mouth, right, and it's over with, than have someone fucking I care about pissed at me for 6 weeks, right? Get it over with, get through it. This is the same thing, right? Stay the course, run through it, and sometimes we just have to persevere. You just have to outlast the bullshit, and you can do it. But like I said, learn to recognize the imposter syndrome is a real thing. Find your way to deal with it and stuff. And like I said, just fucking get through it and get on the other side. That's it for today, guys. Like I said, if you don't mind, it would really help us out to become world famous if you could leave us a review on iTunes. That really helps, and we want to dominate iTunes. No, we just want to do a good job, and we want a lot of people to hear us and find out about us, and I want to help people. I want to help guys. I want to know that I'm doing something positive with my life that benefits others and stuff, right? Gives it more meaning, and sometimes we'll do more for others than we will for ourselves, so that's a really important thing to think about as well. So all that to say is leave me a review on iTunes. And kurthaas@gmail.com if you need to get a hold of me or want to get a hold of me or send me a death threat, I'll read it. Sometimes I'm bored and I just want people to send me something. And I'll talk to you guys later.